Wait a second. Add the 2, subtract the 5, hold the fries. Holy shit! Could he be talking about the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild? Now before you assume I'm getting hyped for nothing and it could literally be anything, hear me out. With the Game Awards 2021 soon upon us, this event may be our last chance to get any new info regarding to the sequel of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild this year. As the game is set to be released in 2022, we are bound to get tons of new information regarding the game then. But I have a strong feeling that during this upcoming Game Awards, we will also get some news regarding the game. From getting the official release date, not just the year, along with its actual title. As I'm sure the game won't be called the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild 2. Though it's funny to see Nintendo use that title when referencing the game in other posts. Like, this is the official logo until Nintendo finally reveals it to us. Though Nintendo has mentioned that giving away the title may contain spoilers to the final game, but how are you going to sell a game without one? So I think Nintendo may have used that reasoning just in case they planned on any last minute changes before fully showcasing the game to us. As until now, we've only gotten 2 really vague teasers that don't really explain much on what we can expect outside of it being a sequel. Think about it. It's been 2.5 years since Nintendo first announced that this game was in development. Back in E3 2019, they revealed to us an extremely ominous trailer of Link and Zelda finding Ganondorf's corpse underground. And then a whole 2 years later at E3 2021, Nintendo finally revealed more to the game. It showcased Link falling from the sky, which was the complete opposite from the first teaser, which had him underground. We also got small gameplay bits, but still not much to take away from it considering both teasers were about a minute long each. And with the game set to be released next year, and this year already on its way of ending, I think it's about time we got more info to the sequel. I mean, I hate to do a Dark Souls comparison, but this sort of applies. That being Elden Ring, also revealed at E3 2019, it has gotten so much new information from the game's official release date to actual gameplay to playtesting for fans who signed up early, compared to Breath of the Wild, which only got 2 little teaser trailers. Which is crazy to think about because Elden Ring is a first-time open-world Dark Souls style game, and Breath of the Wild sequel is a sequel to a game we've already gotten. So you think Nintendo would be the first ones to showcase more to this game, but surprisingly Elden Ring has showcased far more. I guess you could say Elden Ring is the Breath of the Wild 2 of the Dark Souls series. You see that? I flipped it around this time. Anyways, with Game Awards 2021, this may be the perfect moment for Nintendo to do exactly that. And this wouldn't be anything new from Nintendo, as outside E3 and the many directs Nintendo has throughout the year, the Game Awards have always been an event Nintendo used to showcase big reveals, especially when it came to Breath of the Wild. As way back at Game Awards 2015, Nintendo had first revealed gameplay footage for Breath of the Wild, being the very first look we've gotten at the game while it was still in development. It had the series' producer Aonuma and the series' creator Miyamoto showcase the game for the first time. And it was funny to see how out of touch Miyamoto was with the game's development, with him even calling a random horse Epona, assuming that that was the horse that Link was riding. Regardless, it showed that Nintendo took the Game Awards seriously and was willing to make a big reveal at one of its events. And that wasn't the only time we got a big reveal for Breath of the Wild at Game Awards. As at the Game Awards 2017, where Breath of the Wild was released and actually won the Game of the Year at the event, Nintendo not only attended the show and accepted the Game Award, but also during the show had a reveal to the final trailer for the Champions Ballad DLC, while also releasing the DLC that same night. They had the game's producer Eiji Aonuma come up on stage and pull out the Master Sword as if he was Link. before then showcasing this somewhat live-action trailer build-up with each champion readying their fire against Calamity Ganon. With then the trailer itself being shown as a world premiere, and dropping the DLC shown that exact same night. All before they then took the crown as Game of the Year later in that event. It was quite the moment for Zelda fans. Not only did we just get a completely new trailer dropped and the content available that same night, but the game itself also won Game of the Year. It felt like Nintendo owned the Game Awards that year with Breath of the Wild. And honestly, it's crazy looking back at it and seeing how hyped that night really was. So for those who thought that only E3 and the Nintendo Directs were the only events Nintendo saved their big reveals for, think again. The Game Awards has had more than just one huge reveal for Breath of the Wild. So I think it's safe to say that Nintendo uses the Game Awards to showcase new big reveals for their games. And now, 2.5 years after the first announcement of Breath of the Wild sequel, I think Nintendo may have something cooked up for this year's event. You may think I have my hopes too high, but with how Nintendo has had major announcements at the Game Awards thus far, and with how Geoff, the gamer mascot himself, referenced his 2.5-year gap that will be a world premiere at the event, it being the exact same time gap that the first ever teaser was shown for Breath of the Wild sequel, I don't think it's too crazy for me to think this. And for those assuming that it was referenced as a world premiere that it can't be a game that's already been announced, every single new trailer that is first revealed at the event is known as a world premiere. So for example, the gameplay that was shown in 2015 was called a world premiere. And so was the final Champions Ballad DLC, it was known as a world premiere. So the term world premiere just applies for the trailer first being shown at that event. Nothing more, it doesn't mean an entirely new game that has never been announced. And I know a good amount of you guys know that, but I've seen a lot of people trying to argue against it, so I just thought I'd clear it up. Regardless, this would be Nintendo's biggest chance to reveal it to us outside of E3, and since E3 we did get a teaser, I think that this event would be the perfect follow-up to finally get a name and official release date for the game. Honestly, love how serious Nintendo has taken this event in the past, and I hope they continue to do the same. And with Metroid Dread being nominated for Game of the Year this year, you know Nintendo will have some sort of presence during the show. Though if somehow we got a Metroid Prime 4 reveal instead to celebrate Dread being nominated, I wouldn't complain whatsoever. But honestly, deep down my bet is that this is the time for the sequel for Breath of the Wild to finally get revealed. Revealing to us the official release date and the title. Finally putting an end to the curse of fans calling it Breath of the Wild 2 or the Breath of the Wild sequel. As with the game set to be released next year, I think it's time to give us a little more information on the game. But surprisingly, this hasn't been anything new from Nintendo, as Breath of the Wild was originally referred to as Zelda Wii U before the title drop, and Skyward Sword was known as Zelda Wii before its title reveal. Yet during that time, we didn't have any gameplay shown for both of those titles, so it made sense not knowing the name of those games. Yet Breath of the Wild 2, which granted is a sequel, still had 2 teasers and gameplay shown without naming or dropping the title whatsoever. So this title must be something very revealing to what the game is going to be about, or Nintendo is just still working on the perfect title for it. But what are your bets on what the title would be called for the sequel? I think it'd be fun if before it officially gets revealed, we all guess what we think it may be and see how close we end up. Like, will it share the words Breath or Wild to the title to feel like a sequel? Or go the route Majora's Mask went and have a completely different name from its prequel, Ocarina of Time? Maybe it will have some sort of connection to Ganondorf's resurrection, or some connection to the Triforce of Courage and Link's newfound powers in his hands. Though my best bet would be The Legend of Zelda, Ganondorf's Demise. Get it? It's a little play on words. I don't know. Honestly, it could really be anything, so let me know what your best bets are in the comments below. as maybe in little over a week we will finally know the exact name of this game and we can look back and compare. Regardless, I hope you are ready for the sequel and the information to come real soon, as I have once again finally awoken from my hypeless sleep and am ready to get back on the hype train once more. And even if we don't get any info for the game during the Game Awards this year, we are only 1 month away from the game's official release year, so there is hype on the horizon regardless. And leading up to this event, I will be making more videos on Breath of the Wild and its sequel, as I'm full of hype and I just want to share it with you guys. So please, make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date on all of it. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, I've been ZeldaMaster, and I'll see you all in the next one.